Well, I've been able to get a briefing from the command leadership here at the Navy base. Also spoke with the FBI, have spoke with the President about the situation. And as a Navy veteran, anyone who serves in the Navy knows that this is a special place, Naval Air Station Pensacola. All these brave warriors who wear the wings, they come through here for flight training. And so this is a dark day for a very great place. I think it not only strikes at the heart of the community here in Northwest Florida, but throughout the Navy, nationwide and really around the world, because of so many people that have been involved in this base in one way or another. And I know that the President is actively monitoring in the White House, and the thoughts and prayers go out to everybody. We at the state of Florida have already dispatched support. Our Department of Emergency Management has sent a mental health coordinator to talk to any of the witnesses, any of the victims, the families, and offer whatever support they can get. Department of Children and Families has sent a mobile response team to the hospital. We have fatalities, but we also have people who are wounded. Some, like the Escambia deputies, look like they're going to be okay. Some are still in surgery, so we're praying hard for those folks. I think there's obviously going to be a lot of questions about, this individual being a foreign national, being a part of the Saudi Air Force, and then to be here training on our soil to do this. And the FBI is working with DOD, they're working with FDLE, they're working with the Escambia County Sheriffs to answer those questions. One of the things that I talked to the President about is, given that this was a foreign national in the employ of a foreign service, and there'll be time to do this, but obviously the government of Saudi Arabia needs to make things better for these victims, and I think that they are going to owe a debt here, given that this is one of their individuals. But what I can tell you is the response that we saw from the deputies at Escambia County, some of the active duty personnel responding to the scene, and you'll hear more in depth of some of these stories as the days go on, but I can tell you lives were saved because of the response of people both in uniform with the Navy, in uniform with Escambia County, and so in one of the darkest days, I think, of the base's history, you still saw some of that bravery and grit come out, and even people who had been wounded themselves thinking about others and what could be done to save others. And so those stories are inspiring and keeps us going on a very otherwise very bad day. And with that, I'm going to bring up the base commander of NAS Pensacola.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Hello, everybody. Again, Captain Tim Kinsler, the commanding officer of Naval Air Station Pensacola. This has been a very, very difficult day for us, for our families, for the Navy family here. All I can tell you is that I am absolutely in awe of the response by our sailors, by our civilian DOD, and by the Escambia County Sheriff's Department. There was some real heroism today. I mean, real heroism. It made me, I'm devastated. We are in shock. This is surreal. But I couldn't be prouder to wear the uniform that I wear because of my brothers and sisters in uniform, civilian or otherwise, that did what they did today to save lives, and for our brothers and sisters here with the state of Florida and with Escambia County Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Department. From my bottom of my heart, I thank you, and thank you for the support, and thank you for the support, Governor. The days ahead are going to be difficult when it finally sinks in what has happened here. The most important thing going forward for us is to support the families. They are family, they're our family. We're a family here in the Department of the Navy. So that's where most of our efforts will be going through, supporting those families and the people that have been affected by this terrible tragedy. With that, I'll throw back to you, sir.
Sheriff.
Thank you, everyone. We thank you for all the prayers for the Escambia County officers and, of course, for the injured Navy personnel. As the governor has said, and Captain Kinsella, while a dark day, folks, this shows who we are. This shows the best of who we are. In that one of us needs help, everybody responds. I will tell you this morning, I've been more than impressed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Attorney's Office and all of those folks that when the call went out, you didn't need to look behind you, who was following you through that door, because you knew they were all standing behind you and they were there together. And so we're in a recovery mode right now. This is going to be a lengthy investigation. Do not expect quick answers. There's going to be some parts of this investigation not only that we're a part of with the FBI and the ATF and the state authorities that you may never have access to, just because of the fact of, again, the nature of the case and who we're dealing with. That will be extremely frustrating for you. This is something I'd talk about in your government and your elected officials today that no one speaks of, and that's called trust. You're going to have to trust us. We're going to tell you what you need to know to keep our communities and our state and our nation safe. And I want to also assure you that from the men and women of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office who are more than proud to serve every day, that you will hear the truth from us as best we can tell you. Pray for the Navy personnel. There are grieving mothers and fathers today who will never recover from this day. And if you don't believe me, let me give you a David Morgan test. In 2 weeks' time, remember the names of who was wounded and killed here today. And you won't. You won't. But if today it was a member of your family that was wounded or killed today, this day will be etched in your memory for the rest of your life. That's what the families of the Navy personnel are dealing with today. They need your prayers, they need your comfort, and that's why this morning I asked for your assistance in helping us deal with this case. We're going to get there. Give us a little bit of time and we'll provide all of the answers that we can for you. You can be proud of your community, you can be proud of your Navy. Thank God for the United States of America.
Right.
Thank you.
I'd like that.
Mayor? Thank you.
Governor, thank you so much for being here and as a part of that. And I just want to say out to all of our Escambia County residents, City of Pensacola, how grateful we are that you're here. We've certainly gotten calls from our congressmen, our senators, and even the White House, and certainly they have expressed anything that they can do for our community, they are willing to do, and so we very much appreciate that. This is a tragic day for the City of Pensacola. Again, I think the world of our base commander here, Captain Kinsella, who always says that as goes the base, so goes the town, and as goes the town, so goes the base. There's a deep affinity and relationship between Pensacola NAS and the City of Pensacola, and certainly the men and women that work here and serve our country every day. This is a sad day, but I think some of the things that were said there that you've heard, this is also a community of great resiliency, and I'm confident that both NAS and the City of Pensacola will bounce back from this day and be stronger as we go through. But again, I'm certainly here in support of everyone, and certainly want to thank all of our first responders, especially those Escambia County Sheriff's deputies that got here and took care of neutralizing the threat. And certainly all of our Pensacola police officers that were here assisting. We had EMS from Escambia County, as well as fire and rescue from both Escambia County and the City of Pensacola. We certainly, all of our first responders, and what they do every day to keep us protected. You never know when you're going to have a day like December 6th. So again, thank you to all those individuals who serve us every day and take care of us. That's the professionalism you can expect from the City of Pensacola and Escambia County, and we certainly appreciate all those who've come. The governor, everyone else, the state of Florida has reached out to us all across the state, and we appreciate all of your thoughts and prayers. Please continue to keep thinking about Pensacola NAS and the people there, and we will bounce back from this. Thank you.
I think we have time, myself or some of the others, if there's any questions.
Governor, as a former member of the Navy JAG Corps, former officer who served in the Middle East, how would you expect this investigation to play out?
Well, I think that the FBI is probably going to brief you guys in due time, and I think they're leading for it. But obviously, when you have a foreign national involved, particularly in that part of the world, the investigation is obviously going to be different than if it were just somebody from a local community, and I think you'll see that as things go on.
Governor or Captain Kinsella, can you maybe help people understand the background nature of what this training program is and why someone from Saudi Arabia was training here?
Yeah, I'll let the captain if he wants to weigh in on that.
We have a international training syllabus. We have students from several different countries that come here. They learn aviation. They become naval aviators while they're here. It's something that we've been doing for quite a while, and it's with our partner nations. It's important that cross-pollination, that cross-training that we do with our allies is something that we've done for a long time. I mean, in World War II, we had Royal Air Force folks that were training here. There's always been international students training here because it's a good place to train, and it's a good quality training.
How many students do you have, international students?
I can't speak to the exact number of international students.
Roughly?
A couple of hundred.
What was he training
Yeah.
to do, sir?
Second?
What was he training to do?
He was just in the aviation pipeline, so we'll just say he was training in aviation.
And at the time of the shooting, the suspect was a member of the Saudi Arabian Air Force?
I don't want to get into that. That's up to the FBI to complete their investigation to see exactly. It would be speculation on my part to say anything else.
Was he in the pipeline?
Again, I'm not going to speak to where he was in the pipeline or his exact training right now. I'll leave that.
Was he authorized to have a gun on base?
Weapons are not authorized on base. You can't bring a weapon on base unless you're.
Can you talk a bit about
security
the
forces.
security measures? I think that is one of the biggest questions. What types of measures are in place to keep something like this from happening?
Yeah, that's something that's difficult for me to speak here because our security measures, well, we keep them to ourselves for a reason. If I talk to you about our security measures, but I will say that we practice to this. This is part of our training. Our Master at Arms and our civilian DoD, along with Escambia County and Sheriff's Department and with Pensacola Police Department, we train to active shooter scenarios regularly. We just did one recently. So this is, we never expect it, but we train for it, and we remain ever vigilant for it.
Do you expect there's going to be more changes to
Again, I'm not going to speculate.
Sure. How are you confident that he was acting alone?
I'm not going to speculate on the particulars of the investigation or exactly what happened.
Captain, can you talk about the...
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Sheriff Morgan, I wanted to talk about the heroism of your deputies, how, their training prepared them and the quality of their character. They rushed in when a lot of people would not do so and risked their lives for that. I thought you'd like a chance to talk about them.
I appreciate that. We've been to the hospital, of course, to see the officers and their families. And to kind of reinforce what Captain Kinsella just said, we do active shooter training. It's both on-site training and also computer simulations that we train with the DoD police and the Master at Arms program in the Navy. And so this was an actual example of where all that training comes into being. How do we react to this and how do we coordinate and communicate with each other? And so, unfortunately, that training was put to the test today. I'll tell you, it's hard to speak to that without tearing up. I could not be prouder of the men and women of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. They ran to the fight, not from the fight. And even though they knew there was an active shooter, and again, the chances of putting your life in danger are great, guess where they went? They went inside. So let me tell you, the best of our community was on scene today, and that's why it turned out the way it did.
Sheriff, as time has gone on, you've learned more about what happened. Can you walk us through what happened today, please?
Well, just very briefly, we have a precinct not too far off the base. Thank God the call came in. We had officers that were available. It was about a 3 to 5 minute response. The call came in at 10 minutes to 7 this morning. I won't get into a lot of specifics on that because of the FBI investigation, and let me explain why we don't do that, folks. There's a whole lot of witnesses out there that are listening to these programs, that are on social media texting each other. The worst thing in law enforcement that can happen to you is for me to get a second, third, and fourth-hand story from an eyewitness, from someone who was there, who has a clear understanding of what occurred this morning, but now they're reading all the texts that they've sent people and people have sent back to them and what they see on the television tonight. And so that memory, which is very distinct right now, becomes clouded. And now we've begun to tell a blended story. It wasn't really what I observed, it's what you observed and I observed, and now we've shared it with 10 other people. So we want to be very careful with that. That's why I really think, as Captain Kinsella has told you, unfortunately, many times, we don't want to get into that, because if you were a witness, I would want to know where you were at in the building, what time you were there, when did you hear the first shot, what did you do, was your actions there, did you ever get eyes on the shooter, etc., did you help evacuate the building? Those are things that are critical for developing timelines, even to the point of angles of trajectory where students are running from.
I appreciate that. I was just wondering if there's some facts that have already been established.
The facts have been established that we have, unfortunately, now 4 dead, 8 injured.
What type of weapon?
It was a handgun.
Are you able to address whether or not the shooter's room was raided?
I will not.
Was his name Mohammed Al-Sharami?
I will not confirm that. And folks, I know the answers to your questions. I am not answering or confirming it, not because I'm attempting to be trite. It's because I am not the cognizant authority for this investigation. What that means is the FBI, the ATF, the NCIS on base are the lead agencies on this. We are a support element. And so while I have the answer to your questions, I am not at liberty to answer them.
Are you
Can you
saying whether
clarify
anybody
the
else was
numbers,
taken into
please?
custody?
I'm a little confused. I think this morning there
We now have an additional person.
additional person
Yes,
wounded.
yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Do you have an update on
Hey
the
folks, I'm Jason Borst, the Public Affairs Officer for Installation. We're going to start the press conference right now.
That's it.
We have more information will come out later. We'll be sure to share those with everybody. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.